Hi everybody, Wilson here, and today I want to be playing through Star Trek Frontiers by Vlaada Chvátil and Andrew Parks. Now the reason I'm doing this, it's a little ambitious for me, but the reason I'm doing this is because I just started a game and I made a major error that I'm going to point out to you, and I thought, you know what, why don't I just start over and do a little bit of video on it, because I said I'd be doing more content. Now here's the caveat that I want to do, is I want to show you that I'm playing this fan-made variant, which is a really cool one called the Romulan Surge. And basically, you're going after the Romulans. You're trying to rescue planets that are in trouble. That's the objective down here. You can see you have to rescue all the distressed planets. And you've got 6 rounds to do it in. And the Romulans themselves, the bases and the ships, they become increasingly difficult. So before I dive into sort of portions of play, I want to show you why I got to where I did. The game I was playing did not end well. My character's right here. You can see me. This is my warbird, okay, or excuse me, bird of prey. So that's my character, and I wanted to get to this Romulan starbase, and it's important that I do that because that's the objective of the game. But I'm not strong enough to take out a Borg sphere. So of course, if you know the game, if I move into this space, I'm going to set off this Borg sphere, and he's going to attack me, and I don't want that. So I was considering sort of coming around from this angle, or at least get stronger. So maybe head over to here, do some recruiting, and come back. But if I could go take care of this, go through here, and then back up, that would be a good way for me to win the game. And then I realized I had this, which basically says that you can move to an adjacent space without activating an enemy. And I just realized I had that. And so that seemed to me the key. So I moved into this space, I flipped over the Romulan starbase, and I attacked it successfully. After I destroyed that starbase, I was feeling pretty good about myself. I discarded my hands, the dummy took his turn, or her turn, and then I was off in this direction because I didn't need to be over here anymore. And so as I had my new hand already dealt out to me, and everything else was all done and finished, and I was plotting, my approach into this sector over here, it occurred to me that once I took out this starbase, I get sucked into this space. That's not an option as far as I can tell in the rules. And so I had to move into here, which would have automatically activated this Borg sphere and given me one heck of a hard time. And so I completely messed that up, and I had dealt myself a new hand of cards and everything else. So I don't like to continue the game after such a major blunder, which is why I'm starting over. So here's the start of my new game. I once again have my bird of prey on the wormhole, and I've drawn the two tiles here. We're using random placement, so you can see they don't perfectly match up, star, star, star. There's a little bit of a circle, but that's okay. It adds for a little bit of variety, which is neat. Now you'll notice that over here, there's a Romulan starbase, and all the way over here is a Romulan warbird. Well, the objective dictates that I have to get to both of those and destroy them. So for the first turn, I'm going to go off in this direction, way easier than heading through a nebula and all this mess here to go after. This guy's going to be problematic, but he's probably going to be almost last on my list. I can see myself going in this direction and building a little more. I've just gotten underway here with my first move, and I want to show you how a fight's going to go. So again, the 3D aspect of this, top-down camera doesn't show you where I am, but that's where I've managed to get to. Now that I've come alongside, they all the Romulans are cloaked, so you have to come in alongside them before you can see anyway. So here he is. Here's my guy. Oh, there we go. So he's got an attack of 3, and a defense of 5, and he's got some special stuff going on there. So I'm not going to get into that right now, but what I do want to share with you is this little part of the variant called the Romulan Surge. So before we engage this guy, you go to the dummy deck, which is right here, and you draw 1 off the top, and he's going to get to use this card as an attack or defense, or depends what it is. Okay, it's a move, so that has nothing to do with his attack or defense. And since I'm not going to do any long range on him, but I'm going to engage in, I should have probably, and I can't now. But so he's going to attack me. So he will play this sideways, and he will get 1 to his attack. So instead of the 3 attack, he's going to be coming at me with 4. So I've just finished round 2, and now I'm on round 3. I came down through this side. Obviously, I've got did some damage over here to a starbase and a warbird. But what really caught me off guard was this warbird. I really had him cold with 6 ranged attack. But when he flipped his dummy card, he got a bonus to his shield, and he needed 7. So I couldn't range him out anymore. And in fact, what ended up happening was I took quite a bit of damage from him. So the tables really turned on me. So I managed to come around here and get to that. Is that a starbase? Is that what that's called? And I was or an outpost. It's called an outpost. I was able to recruit there once on one turn and then once on another turn just at the conclusion of round 2. So I'm now on round 3, and things don't get significantly more difficult in round 3, but in round 4, the star bases as well as the ships, like the Romulan warbirds, will sort of up their game, and we'll start to see not more powerful ones, but we'll start to see 2 of each, and it's definitely going to be more difficult. I intentionally have built it this way so that I can build more core tiles. I haven't put, none of these are core tiles. So as I come down here, I'm just hoping to make myself stronger. I'm doing that, I'm having a little bit of success with that, not nearly as much as I hoped, but the idea is to come back in this direction, ultimately to get this guy here as a very strong candidate. But there's going to be core tiles show up, and there's going to be Borg spheres, so hopefully I can avoid them. This is going to be the last, my last turn in round 3. And I managed to get all the way down here. Now, I didn't want to get all the way down here, but I did, actually. I'm forgetting that I get a token for that. That's going to be helpful. Anyway, I have to rescue this planet. It's a distressed planet, and I wanted to turn around right here and start heading back up toward the wormhole, but there was such issues in here that I didn't want to take these guys on, these spheres, and so I kept trying to go around, and it led me down here to sort of a peninsula where I've got to now take care of this this class L planet. It's going to have 2 tokens on it. It's going to be hard. In fact, I don't even know how I'm going to accomplish this, but we'll try. And then I'm going to have to start going back up. And so I've got 1 more core tile left, which probably it's either going to be here, or I think I need to have it here. So I'm going to have to come through this little corridor. Anyway, this is going to be tough, and round 4 is just going to get tougher as I run into Romulans along the way. Okay, listen, I'm just going to come out and say it. The game didn't go well, but I gave you that heads up in the description of this video. And I'm posting it anyway. I don't think a lot of people would necessarily do that would show a game that's an utter failure. But it is. I ran out of places to go. So, round 3 of 6. And that's the thing about this game, is sometimes I have fun with it. Let's not misunderstand that. I have a lot of fun with it. But when it gets to a point where there seems to be a certain hopelessness, I cave. I don't know if you're the same, or if you have games that are similar where they just escalate and it feels like they're running away, just gonna hammer you. What do you do? Do you reset the game? Do you keep going until you've officially lost? Have you ever persevered, pushed through, and actually found out that you could win the game, that you could pull it out of the fire? I suppose if I gave it some thought, there might be some games that I could say that's happened in, but honestly, off the top of my head, I can't think of one. So let me just turn the camera around and I'll show you the mess that I got myself into. We'll start with a bit of a wide shot. I mean, this game is always going to look a little bit messy, right? But once you're the one playing it, you know what's going on. But in order to help make some sense of all this, let me just focus on the modular board here. As I've already said in the other videos, this is obviously where we started. That's the wormhole, and I was making my way down through here. Now, even by here, I wanted to get turned around so that these core tiles that I have down here would show up in this area. And I figured by then I would be in a good position to finish off this guy, and that was my strategy. And I think I kind of shared that with you already. Nevertheless, I could not get around this corner. I just could not. I kept getting pushed out by, how would I say this thematically, long range sensors picking up Borg spheres. You can see them there, right? 1 and 2. And I just could not get around them. And I thought, well, I can go back this way, but there's all these asteroid fields, you know, no easy path. So with my advanced actions, I kept buying movement. I wasn't investing in photon this or phaser that. I was just trying to get really, really exotic kinds of movement that would make movement cheap and easy, that I could travel through stars and suns and planets and all kinds of nebulas, and that I could do that with ease. Well, I guess I just didn't have a very balanced approach. I got down here. This was the last core tile that I really wanted to pop up over here, but it came down here. So, you know, a couple of planets in distress. I needed to rescue them. I needed to do something, and I ran into this Romulan starbase right there at about 10 o'clock to my figure right there. There's my bird of prey. And I ran into this Romulan starbase, and I thought, well, look, let's take it out on the way. But in this variant, I'm not sure what I said before. I think I said I was in round 3, but I'm not. I'm in round 4. And the way this variant works is that now you're no longer turning up one starbase, you're turning up 2. And so here they are. And I wouldn't have had any issue coping with one of these guys, but I just could not get the better of 2. I already had, as you can see, 2 bits of damage to my ship. I was going to take all sorts of new damage. It just wasn't adding up. So frustration got the better of me, and I called it a game. So like I said a second ago, what are the games? I don't want you to think I'm a quitter, but you know, sometimes this is how I play games. So yeah, I hope this hasn't been a disappointing conclusion to things for you, but yeah, I'd be curious in the comments, where do you bail on a game? Or do you ever bail on a game? Maybe you've got a little more courage and stamina than I do. Anyway, for my part, this is Wilson signing off.